I discuss what he plays here on the studio recording, I think it's very interesting to point out that there's a live version of George Harrison playing this solo some years later, who wasn't with the Beatles, and he plays it differently in the live situation than he played on the recording, which really makes me wonder. Well, you'll see as I play this for you. So this is what he plays in the live situation, going from the fifth to the third. He does it with that little flashy move there, but a very direct major statement. So he is playing to a G major chord here, so he plays. So starting with a root third, he goes from the fifth, connecting chromatically to the third, and then he goes to the sixth, connecting chromatically to the fifth. Again, so very strong major arpeggio with an added sixth. Just a side note here about these chromatic passing tones. One of the basic tricks we learn as we begin to study improvisation is simply preceding a note by a half a step. So we could take something very simple like a G major arpeggio and precede each note by a half step like this. Or you can do something a little fancier like okay. And then you can also go at it from the other way. You can precede each note from a half tone above, like or you can get fancier and precede each note from a scale tone above, maybe this. I think what he did here grew out of this concept that I'm showing you of preceding these chord tones with a chromatic line, something like this. Something like that. I once heard someone say that when it comes to improvising a solo, 70% of the content is material that you've already played or studied or learned. It's only the extra 30% that might be a variation of something you've already learned or maybe something new, but it's rarely something you've never touched or played on before, but it kind of grows mostly out of something you've played very often that's very well worn, and then it grows to maybe some variations of things you've already done, and very little of it might be something that you've never ever played before. So I think this line that George Harrison plays here is something that was very familiar to him, this concept of highlighting these chord tones with a little chromatic line that preceded them from okay, sure that wasn't the first time he did it. All right, so that was the solo I heard him do live, and I would have said that that would have been more of what I expected him to play, because it's very much built on chord tones, very direct. Root, third, fifth. So now let's talk about the studio recording. On the studio recording, he does this. What are these notes right here? Where does that come from? Well, I'll expand on those notes a little bit and see if you can recognize it here. What does that sound like? That's a G minor pentatonic scale, or it's a little bluesier because he adds what we call the blue note. If you look on your screen up here, you'll see in the minor pentatonic scale we have this flat 5 chord tone, or scale tone rather, that is grayed out a little. That's an optional note that is very fond of blues players, called the blue note. And it's this flatted 5. Here's the pentatonic scale. Now here's the pentatonic scale with the blue note. That's the blue note. Very bluesy, right? Very blue. So that's where he goes. So he's playing, watch, he starts this against the G chord. Bright third, major third. Then he goes to this blue note and lands on a minor third. Minor third, so blue note, flat 5, 4 to minor third. And I'm thinking, it wasn't until I heard him do this live that I thought, I wonder if he thinks he made a mistake in the studio recording. I wonder if he thought, oh, should have played a major, shouldn't have gone to the minor, right? He sees this pattern here that I'm sure is very familiar to him, that I'm sure he played 1,000,001 times with Eric Clapton, because this is Eric Clapton's big thing, this minor pentatonic scale, this bluesy pentatonic with that blue note. Right? I'm sure he's done that with Eric Clapton on several occasions. And then he ends on what I think is this. You can take that either way. You can look at it as maybe part of major pentatonic. It's really vague. It's ambiguous because he doesn't play the third in the phrase. But my guess is I kind of hear it as a major statement, kind of going back to I guess I hear it as major because the harmony behind it is major. We got the major third in the bass. So all right. So very interestingly, what he plays in the studio is this shifting gears between major to minor, minor third, and then which finishes having a major sound to it together with the harmony. It's genius. Just so amazing. I melt in my chair every time I hear it, and can't be any simpler. I think if you're a beginner, you can play this solo with one finger here. You can do one finger, those 6 notes. It doesn't get any easier, but that selection of notes is just pure amazing. Again, I think that's one of the greatest solos in rock history. So let's move on now to finishing this solo. Where does it go? It goes to A minor. What does he play? He goes right to an A minor pentatonic scale. That's all minor pentatonic scale going from region 1 to region 2. Landing on a minor third. So you see right there, very strong on minor third, 5th, minor third, 5th, all very squarely landing on those chord tones against the A minor, major 7, A minor 7, and landing on D7. That's root, minor 7. And then the motif of this song. And interestingly, if you listen to the live recording, the chords here are F, E flat, G, C. In the live recording, he does this. What is that? He's playing arpeggios. He's playing, here comes the E flat arpeggio. Then he does a G arpeggio and lands on C. And he's home. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this today. It's been a privilege to share with you one of my favorite guitar solos. And I look forward to being with you again next time. Thanks for joining me.